Hello everyone, this is the Gadget Man with Discovering in Color, and welcome to today's video. Today, we're gonna have a fun one. What we're gonna do is we're gonna compare a very expensive tent to a not so expensive tent and kind of talk about some of the differences between the two, and you can make up your mind as to which one that you would like to go ahead and get if you don't have one already. Now, both of these tents right here, I bought with my own money. So neither one of these companies right here, which is Zpacks or Six Moon Designs, have paid me to talk about this, or will pay me to talk about this, or will give me any free stuff or any of that good thing. So this is just done out of the kindness of my heart. All right, topic number one, we're gonna talk about size. Now, as you can see, both of these tents right here look pretty much the same size. They are both single wall tents, and the Six Moon Designs, which is the Lunar Explorer, Duo Explorer, so it holds two people, they both hold two people. This one here, when you go inside as far as size goes, floor space wise, they're pretty much close to the same. But inside, because the Six Moon Design one has this little bar that goes across the top, makes it feel a little bit roomier. The Zpacks one doesn't have the bar across the top, so it doesn't feel as roomier on the inside, but pretty much these tents are almost the same inside. Next, let's talk about materials. Now, when it comes to materials, this is where the biggest difference comes into play. The Zpacks right here, which is the Zpacks Duo here, it is made out of Dyneema, or what they used to call Cuban fiber. But it's a Dyneema fiber. It's a very expensive fiber, but it's also a very light fiber, and we'll talk about weight in a minute. The Six Moon Design tent here is just a nylon tent, a very nice nylon tent. They're both, of course, waterproof. This tent here, the weight on this one is about 3 pounds 9 ounces. The weight on this one here is about 1 pound 8 ounces with all the stakes and all that. So what you look up on the website is you'll see a different than what I have here. This is with everything attached to it. Now, these are trekking pole tents, so you use your own trekking pole with them. Six Moon Design tent, you can buy some little stake things that go up in the middle, so that you have to use your trekking poles, and that's usually just for this demonstration I did it, but that's what you have here. Now let's talk a little bit about waterproofness. This Dyneema tarp tent right here, it's waterproof. It will not leak at all. I've taken this out in downpours and mist and fog and rain. It will not leak through at all. I mean, this thing is 100% waterproof. The only water you're going to get in here is water that you brought in, or water that comes because you did not set this up correctly. The Six Moon Design tent here, it is also waterproof. Very, very waterproof. I've had no leaks on this one since I've had it. The biggest difference was when I got this tent here, I had to seal up the seams. When I got the Zpacks tent, it came with sealed seams, so I have to worry about that part right there. Also, when they're wet, this Dyneema right here does not absorb any water, so you can shake this thing off, pretty much get all the water weight off. However, when you get to these nylon tents here, when you go to shake that water off, you can shake all you want, but they're still wet. So when it comes to being a wet, rainy atmosphere, I kind of have to go with the Zpacks, okay? Because this one here, when it gets wet and when it does, you get up and leave, you've got to get this thing as dry as you can, because it will retain some water, which means you got to carry more water on your back. So when it comes to waterproofness, the winner does go to Zpacks right here. All right, now we're going to go to set up from the tent, or actually once the tents are set up, what they look like. And we're going to talk about these rain flaps right here. So we're going to take a quick break here, and I'm going to switch over to talk about the rain flaps. All right, so when we talk about the flaps on the front here, I really do like the Zpacks flaps, but there's a big difference between what you have on this particular tent right here and what you have on the Six Moon Design tents. The first one is when you open this up right here, and if you set this up correctly, you can have both of these open right here, and rain will not go inside of this tent. Done it many times, had no rain go inside. The flaps on the front here, they fold up just like the other ones, but there's a big difference here on how they close up. So when we take our flaps on both sides and we pull it apart, okay, you'll notice this particular brand of Zpacks tent does not have a zipper, okay? It's designed to have these flaps overlap, and on the bottom here, there's some nice little clips that you use. And what you do is you take one, clip it on this little hook right here. You take the second one, you clip it on the hook right here. And what you have is you have these overlapping flaps right here. So that way rain will not get inside. Like I said, I've had this in a number of rainstorms here, and rain has not gotten inside of this right here. Now, another thing you want to look at here when you're doing this here is you can either put up one side for ventilation, or you can leave the entire thing open at night for ventilation. But other than that, hey, this is a really great setup right here. You can get a brand of Zpacks I have now that has a zipper that's built into it. I particularly like this one right here because, one, I don't have to worry about a zipper breaking on me when I'm out there. So less chance of mechanical failure with this particular tent right here. All right, let's take a look over to Six Moon Design tents and we'll see how that one works on the front. All right, so this is the Six Moon Design tent. We're gonna talk about how this one works on the front. Very similar to the Zpacks. It has almost the same type of attachments that the Zpacks has here. These little toggle clips right here. So we'll clip that one off there. And we'll clip the one off on the other side. And the doors work pretty much the same. The biggest difference you have is this one has a zipper on the front here. So kind of a mechanical advantage with the zipper. It's got the flap, so you don't have to worry about rain coming in at all. And it's got this cool little attachment right here that you can hook up on here, and you can adjust depending on how you have this set up. And what happens is, if I can make this thing happen here, come on. This little hook right here hooks into one of the doors. And you can adjust this toggle right here, and you can make nice, tight doors, all right? So this works out good too. Now, one thing, because of the design on this one here, is that if you set it up and you want to have it open in the rain, rain will tend to get into this. I've tried to do the same thing I did on the Zpacks, but rain will actually kind of get into this if you're not careful. But you got a good seal right here. You don't have to worry about wind or rain getting in. You do have, like I said, the mechanical advantage or disadvantage of the zipper, so you don't want this thing to break. I've had this a number of years, never had a problem with the zipper, but it is just one of those things you might want to look out for. So that is the zipper on the inside. Now, since we've got it here, I do want to show you a big difference, or kind of a similarity to the Zpacks. This one has that D-shaped door. When you open it, it's a nice big D-shaped door. It's on both sides of the tent. So if you have two people in here, one person can get out the other side, and you can get out this side depending on what side you're at. So the Zpacks is a very similar door to it right here. So that's the doors on the tent. Let's talk about one more thing. Okay, the last thing I want to talk about, which really probably should have been the first thing I talked about, is setup. Now, when you're setting both of these tents up, you've got to have a good sized area, a good sized footprint in order to set these tents up. The other thing is they're single wall tents when you're setting them up. So setting up in the rain is not too difficult at all. I have found that setting up the Zpacks is a little bit simpler than setting up the Six Moon Design tent. Mainly because on the Six Moon Design, up there on the top, there is a little bar that comes with it to help give you more headroom on the top. And getting that set up, especially when it's raining, you've got to kind of get it open, get your hands in there and do it. And if it's raining outside, that is one chance for rain to get into the tent. You don't have that problem with the Zpacks. You can pretty much leave it shut up just like this, and you can get this thing set up very, very easily. The other thing is that because these are single wall freestanding tents, you've got to have trekking poles to set them up. With the exception of the Zpacks. The Zpacks does offer an attachment or two extra poles that you can put on this, and it can become a non-freestanding tent. So if you're in an environment where you just can't find a place to put down stakes or something, or you have to use rocks and it's kind of windy, you can actually, if you have that attachment, you can put it on this and set it up in an area where you just can't get stakes in the ground. And I've been in those places too. Been super rocky, and it's extremely difficult to get a stake in the ground, and you end up using a big rock or something like that in order to set this up. So, just a quick comparison between the two. An expensive tent, a not so expensive tent. They're both very good tents, and I camp with both of these right here. But a lot of these just depends on the situation. If I'm doing a shorter overnight hike with a few miles and I want to have a lot of extra room, I go with the Six Moon Designs, okay? If it's gonna be dry too, I'll definitely go with the Six Moon Designs. If I'm going on a lighter hike where I'm hiking more miles and higher altitude, I'm gonna go with the Zpacks tent because it's just that much more weight. I mean, you're looking at almost a pound and a half between the two of them. So why not go with the lighter tent? So that way, at the end of the day, that's that much less that you don't have to carry. Plus, now that I carry some extra stuff with me, such as a CPAP video and all that kind of stuff, having the lighter tent is definitely worth it. So when it comes down to it, you make your own choice. I'm not going to recommend one over the other. Pick the one that you want. Pick the one that you can, by all means, afford, because like I said, they ain't cheap, either one of them. And go your way you want to go. So with that, I'm the Gadget Man with Discovery in Color. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you out there on the trail.